today's offering. This is the Benelli TRK502 and it's the X, so it's the more off-road bias one. So by that, I think it's a little bit taller. You've got spoke wheels. Let's just have a look around it, usual way. There's our close-up. So this bike is, I believe, 2 years old. To be fair, looks like a brand new bike. When you look at the engine, can't see any rust or anything like that on it, which, you know, for a 2-year-old bike that's been used, yeah, that's not bad at all. That it does come with the top box. You can see it's a Givy top box, and it's actually quite a big one. That I would say, certainly going to get a helmet, maybe 2. Don't quote me on that though, but it is quite a big top box. Got a single disc Benelli branded brake. You can see a bit of age related wear now I'm looking at it, but like as I've already said, it's 2 years old, this bike, so the fact that all you can see on the odd little nut or bolt is a little bit of weathering, I'd call it. Nothing that would put me off. The engine and everything around the frame just looks as new. 2 discs and it's Benelli branded. Make sure you stay for the test ride of this one so you can see how it fares after a couple of years worth of riding by someone. So there's going to be your view from the seat. Now the wing mirrors on this, decent size, very practical. You'll be able to see everything behind you. Chunky beast this. And these bikes are great value, brand new to be fair, for an adventure bike, one of the cheapest out there. And you do get a lot for your money, which explains for the sales figures over Europe. I believe it is the best selling adventure bike on the market. Price certainly has a lot to do with that, I think. You've got your knuckle guards, your hand guards. They do feel quite substantial. You've got a nice chunky metal frame going round, and the plastic itself, yeah, feels all right. That adjustable levers, that's always useful if you've got small or massive hands. It's already hardwired in a TomTom Rider sat-nav, so if you've got something like that, ideal, it's already ready to go for you. Screen wise, it is an older model, so it has just got the analog screen. You've got your rev meter at the side and the digital bits there. Again, if you want to have a proper in-depth view of the bike, a bit more detail, just have a look at my review on the brand new one. I'll put a link in the description for that. Big windscreen, so we'll see how that fares on the test ride as well. It's quite breezy today, so hopefully we'll be able to give it a proper test. Little beak at the front. I'm gonna throw my leg over this one. You can see size wise compared to me, it's quite a big bike this. It's a small adventure bike engine wise, but it's still quite a big bike when you're at the side of it. So I'm going to throw my leg over and we'll see how we get on. I'm on the balls of my feet. I'm not quite tiptoeing. I certainly don't feel like it's too big for me. It doesn't feel as big as previous adventure bikes I've been on, like the V-Strom. The V-Strom 1050 that I've had feels a little bit taller than this one. Where the pegs are, they are fairly central, but they do feel like they're a little bit high. So I'll do a stand-up test when we're riding and you can see how that affects the bike if you're standing up, because this is the X after all. On that, that's the walk round done of this bike. Let's go and see what it rides like. Let's go. Right, let's see what the Benelli 502X is all about. Keep dropping the TRK, don't know why. Not dropping, you know what I mean. Actually not a bad sounding bike this. It's not what you would describe as being a meaty engine note. It's done 6,699 miles, so it has been used. It's a couple of years old, but it started first time on the key, and that was from being cold. And it is a very cold day today. Goes through the gears nicely, no issues with that. Being a shorter rider, I'm not overly keen on that right in my eye line. just feels like it's blocking my view. I mean, my eyes are pretty much here, so without that it'd be perfect. But you know, not everybody has my short person problem, do they? There are people whose eye line will be above that, but it's just mine that's suffering. So it just feels a bit strange to start with, but we'll see how we get on. If it keeps the wind off me when I'm going that little bit faster, then it's something I could probably deal with. You can see through it fine. It's not obstructing your view or anything like that. It just feels a bit different. It goes through the gears nicely, it goes around the bends nicely. You can tell I've been on a lot of smaller capacity bikes recently, because when you get on something that is bigger than a 250 or a 350, you do notice that torque and power. I wouldn't again say that this is a bike that I would call rapid, but it's got enough power for town riding and then some. You know, you're not gonna win any sports bike races with it, but it's an adventure bike that pretty much will go anywhere, and it's decent for a bit of filter. The seat feels nice and wide and comfortable. It doesn't feel too soft that you're sinking into it, but it doesn't feel rock solid either. It's just a comfortable seat, this. And I can see why these have sold so well over Europe. I know in Italy, I believe it is the best selling bike, or it has been for a couple of years, and I can see why, again, because this bike is a lot of bike for the money. It's got quite a big road presence to it, and if I'm not mistaken, these were less than £6,000 brand new. I'll double check that. In fact, I'll put on screen the new price for these bikes, because that was part of the appeal, I think, for them. The fact that you can go out and buy an adventure bike where you can pretty much tour the world in comfort for such a low price. It's a nice bit of kit, this. It'll do 70 mile an hour in comfort, so I haven't got a massive issue as far as that goes. Now, this being a used model, I've got to say it has handled the last 2 years very, very well. I should imagine it's being kept out the weather a lot, because there isn't a great deal of weather related marks on it. The paintwork and everything looks very nice. It doesn't look like it's being misused at all, and it's riding as I would expect a brand new bike to ride. It's going through the gears lovely. Power delivery is nice and smooth. If you do give it a little bit, it will give you a little bit back. So yeah, I like it. This bike itself has only just come into Moto, so it hasn't got a price on it yet. So I can't tell you how much it is up for, but I know these bikes are bargains brand new. So if you're saving money on the new price of one of these, then you're saving money, aren't you? So I will put at the end, because by the time I've done my editing wizardry with this bike, it should all be on their website, I'm sure, if not sold by then, to be fair, because the bikes are coming in and out of Moto very, very quickly, it would seem. Today is breezy, and I am feeling the wind coming from both sides, but I'm not feeling anything from the front. So the screen is doing a good job, but the fact that I'm getting a bit of breeze on my shoulders from the sides, that's just down to weather conditions. But the screen itself, yeah, not got too much to complain about with that. I do like having knuckle guards on bikes. If you haven't got heated grips, it's a close second, because they do keep the breeze off your hands, so they can stop your hands from getting too cold. Actually, I did worry for these bikes in the used market, because they are quite cheap to buy. So I did worry that why would you buy a second-hand one when you can buy a brand new one. But ultimately it comes down to just saving more money, doesn't it? Saving money certainly in the current climate, is the thing to do. And if you can get a bike like this that as a work commuter or, you know, a weekend plaything, I think it's another really good bike from Benelli, and I can see why the new bike sales across Europe for this bike have been so high. I like how these are all backlit as well, so when it gets dark you'll be able to see your buttons nice and easily. But again, it's the little touches like that just set these Benellis apart at the minute. They're doing things that you would expect from a newer, more expensive, more premium bike, and they're doing it at a really, really good price. And for anybody who says no, cheap Chinese, come and ride one, go and try a new one, I can tell you this used model is still working as good today as it would have done riding out the factory brand spanking new. And that is where these bikes are coming forward leaps and bounds. Now the year is, well, it's nearly done. By the time this comes out and airs, it may well be 2024, but my bike of the year for 2023, my favorite bike that I've been on, is the Benelli 702X. I absolutely love that bike. That bike for me exceeded expectations massively. Certainly not being abused. It's a nice bike to ride. I've got absolutely no complaints. I'd be quite happy to have something like this in the garage myself. When the time comes for me to look for an adventure bike, and it will at some point, I think everybody needs an adventure bike in the garage, a bike that they can tour the world on and get a little bit dirty on. And this, as a cheap option, is a very good option. So I'm going to take this one back to Moto. Before I do, let's just do the standy up test. Yeah, see, for my short legs, I don't have a massive issue with this as far as the leg placement goes. Maybe if it was something I was doing a lot of off-road on, I might put some bar risers on or something just to make it a little bit more comfortable for me. I'm back at Moto. This bike is up for sale with them. I consider it a used bike bargain because these bikes are cheap. Brand new, they are cheap, and they are a lot of bike for the money. Head over to the website if you're interested, guys, because it won't be around for long. And no, I don't work for them, but I just know what these bikes are like. There is a bit of a following, and if someone's going to save a bit of money on one, they're going to snap it up. So catch you on the next one. Laters.